Dr. Sarah Chen stared at her computer screen, her coffee growing cold beside her. The signal patterns didn't make sense. After 15 years at SETI, she had seen her share of false positives. But this was different. The regular pulses coming from deep space followed a mathematical sequence that couldn't be natural. "James, come look at this," she called to her colleague. Dr. James Peterson leaned over her shoulder, his eyes widening as he studied the data. "This can't be right," he whispered. "Run it again." But they both knew. This was it. First contact. Within hours, the facility buzzed with activity. Government officials in dark suits rushed through the corridors, and military personnel secured the building. The President of the United States was already on her way. As the world's leaders gathered for an emergency UN session, something new appeared on every radar system on Earth. A fleet of massive ships, each larger than Manhattan, emerged from what appeared to be tiers in space itself. They positioned themselves in a perfect geometric formation around Earth's orbit. CNN, BBC, and every major news network broadcasted the same images. People flooded the streets, some in panic, others in awe. Churches filled with worshippers, while bars filled with those seeking liquid courage. The first transmission came exactly 3 hours after their arrival. "People of Earth," the message began, transmitted in perfect English and simultaneously in every major language on Earth. "We are the Galactic Empire, rulers of 5,000 star systems and guardians of civilized space. We have observed your planet for some time." The holographic image that appeared over every major city showed a humanoid figure, tall and elegant, with silvery skin and eyes that seemed to contain galaxies. "I am Ambassador Xental, representative of the Empire. We have determined that your species has reached a sufficient level of development to be processed." In the UN General Assembly, representatives from every nation watched in stunned silence. Ambassador Xental continued, "Your technology is primitive by our standards. Your political systems are chaotic. Your resources are inefficiently managed. However, you show potential for servitude within the Empire." Dr. Chen, now seated among a panel of experts hastily assembled in the UN, felt her hands shake as she took notes. The beings they had dreamed of meeting for so long had arrived, not as friends, but as conquerors. "You have 2 of your Earth rotations to prepare your leadership for formal submission procedures," Xental announced. "Resistance is neither advised nor expected from a species at your development level. The Empire's decision is final." The transmission ended, leaving Earth in a state of shocked silence that lasted approximately 30 seconds before chaos erupted. In the Pentagon, General Michael Rodriguez slammed his fist on the table. "They think we're primitive. Show them the Prometheus Protocol." "Sir," his aide protested, "that's classified beyond." "The whole world's about to find out anyway," Rodriguez interrupted. "Call the President. It's time humanity showed its cards." In orbit, the Imperial ships maintained their perfect formation, their crews confident in their technological superiority. They had conquered thousands of worlds this way. Earth would be no different. They didn't know about the hidden facilities deep beneath the Earth's surface. They hadn't detected the quantum defense grid humanity had reversed engineered from a crashed ship in Antarctica 50 years ago. They had no idea that humans had been preparing for this moment since the first radio signals were detected from space. As night fell over the UN building in New York, emergency meetings continued behind closed doors. Tomorrow, humanity would reveal its true strength. Tomorrow, the Empire would learn why you should never judge a species by its apparent level of technology. For now, Earth waited, its greatest secret still hidden. We were never as primitive as we appeared to be. The United Nations building hummed with tension as world leaders gathered in the emergency session. The massive screens showed the Imperial ships still hanging in orbit, their metallic surfaces reflecting Earth's sunlight. President Helen Martins of the United States stood at the podium, her face grim but determined. "For 70 years, we have kept the world's greatest secret. Today that ends." She nodded to a man sitting in the shadows. Dr. Victor Chang, head of the Global Defense Initiative, walked to the center of the room. His lab coat seemed out of place among the suits and military uniforms. In 1947, it wasn't a weather balloon that crashed in Roswell, he began. It was an Imperial scout ship. Gasps filled the room. The Chinese president leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. Explain. From that single ship, we reversed engineered technology beyond anything the public knows exists. But that wasn't all. Dr. Chang pressed a button, and a hologram appeared in the center of the room. We found this in the ship's database. Detailed plans of Imperial technology, their strategic weaknesses, and their battle formations. General Rodriguez stepped forward, his military medals catching the light. Every major space program was a cover. NASA, ESA, Roscosmos, all of them were fronts for our real work. Those rockets everyone watched, decoys. Our real ships are hidden in underwater bases and lunar facilities. The Russian president stood up. The Siberian weather research stations. Quantum weapon facilities. Rodriguez confirmed. Just like China's agricultural domes and America's deep storage bunkers. In orbit, Ambassador Xentel received a strange reading from Earth's surface. Scan again, he ordered his crew. These energy signatures, impossible for their level of technology. Back in the UN, Dr. Chang continued, we've had functional faster-than-light ships for 30 years. Anti-gravity technology for 40. The reason we kept everything hidden was simple. We detected the Empire's approach long ago. We knew they classify and conquer civilizations based on their apparent level of technology. So we hid everything, President Martinez added. We played primitive. We let them think we were an easy target. Suddenly, alarms blared through the Imperial fleet. Energy readings were spiking all across Earth's surface. Hidden doors opened in mountains, oceans, and deserts. Bases that had never appeared on any public map revealed themselves. Ambassador Xentel watched in shock as his scan showed thousands of advanced weapons powering up across Earth's surface. Impossible, he whispered. They're supposed to be primitive. In the Himalayas, massive ion cannons emerged from the ice. In the Mariana Trench, quantum torpedo launchers activated. On the far side of the moon, hangars opened to reveal sleek warships that had never seen the light of day. We are not primitive. President Martinez's voice boomed across all frequencies, now addressing the Imperial fleet. We are not unprepared, and we are certainly not submitting. Dr. Chen, still at her computer terminal, smiled as she entered the final activation codes. The satellite network that everyone thought was for communications and GPS revealed its true purpose, a planetary shield grid that could repel any invasion force. Humanity has a message for the Empire, Martinez continued. We knew you were coming. We've been ready for decades. This is your one and only warning. Leave Earth's space or face the consequences of your arrogance. In orbit, Ambassador Xentel stared at the readings in disbelief. The primitive planet had transformed into a fortress before his eyes. For the first time in Imperial history, what was supposed to be a simple conquest had become something else entirely. The Empire had severely underestimated Earth. They were about to learn just how costly that mistake could be. Admiral Chen Wei of the Hidden Earth Fleet stood on the bridge of the EF's Defender, humanity's most advanced warship. For 20 years, this vessel had remained concealed beneath the Pacific Ocean. Now, it rose from the depths, water cascading from its stealth black hull. All systems ready, Admiral, his first officer reported. The demonstration package is armed. Remember, Admiral Chen spoke to his crew, we're not starting a war. We're preventing one. In orbit, Ambassador Xentel watched with growing concern as his sensors detected something massive emerging from Earth's oceans. The Imperial database had no record of such technology on this planet. His communication officer's voice shook as he reported, Sir, we're detecting energy signatures that exceed our own ships. Impossible, Xentel muttered, but the evidence was right before him. The ESA Defender rose into the sky, its quantum drives humming silently. Smaller craft emerged from hidden bases worldwide, sleek fighters that made the Empire's best ships look obsolete. Dr. Sarah Chen, now operating from the Lunar Command Center, initiated the demonstration sequence. "All units in position," she reported. "Beginning Operation Wake-Up Call." President Martinez's voice echoed across all frequencies again. "Ambassador Xental, you call us primitive. Allow us to demonstrate why appearances can be deceiving." The ESS Defender fired a single shot. The beam of energy, precisely calculated, split into 7 parts. Each part struck an unmanned drone ship that the Earth forces had positioned earlier, targets placed exactly 1 light second apart. "That," General Rodriguez explained over the channel, "was our lowest power setting." In orbit, Xental's crew stared in disbelief. Their scanners showed that each target had been completely disintegrated at the atomic level. Even more impossibly, the shots had ignored all known laws of physics, striking their targets simultaneously despite the light speed delay. "We've had 70 years to prepare," President Martinez continued. "We studied your technology from the crashed scout ship. We improved it. We evolved it. While you saw our public face launching chemical rockets, our real work never stopped." The lunar base opened its hangar doors, revealing row after row of advanced warships. From Mars, another fleet decloaked. Humanity's backup plan, hidden on the red planet for decades. "This is not a negotiation," Admiral Chen announced. "This is not a threat. This is a simple statement of fact. Earth is not yours to take." To emphasize the point, Dr. Chen activated the planetary defense grid. A shimmering field of energy enveloped the Earth, incorporating technologies that the Empire had thought impossible to combine. Ambassador Xental received urgent messages from the Imperial capital. Their sensors had detected the demonstration across hundreds of light years. For the first time in 10,000 years, the Empire faced a civilization that had completely outmaneuvered them. "Your empire has conquered thousands of worlds," President Martinez stated. "You arrived at each one, found them lacking, and took what you wanted. But we saw you coming. We prepared. We waited. And now we're telling you once. Leave." The ESS Defender moved into position between Earth and the Imperial fleet. Its weapon systems remained powered down. They didn't need to show everything they had. Not yet. "You have 1 hour to retreat beyond the Kuiper Belt," Admiral Chen announced. "After that, we will consider your presence an act of war. And believe me, Ambassador, you don't want to see what else we've developed in the past 70 years. In his command ship, Ambassador Xental faced a decision that would change the course of galactic history. The Empire had never retreated before, but they had also never encountered a civilization that had so thoroughly anticipated their arrival. The clock was ticking, and Earth's warning hung in space like a drawn sword. Ambassador Xental stood before the Imperial High Council's emergency holographic session. The grand chamber of his ship felt small as the projections of the 12 most powerful beings in the galaxy surrounded him. "You mean to tell us," High Counselor Vexor spoke, her silver eyes flashing with anger, "that these humans knew about us for 70 years? That they hid their true capabilities? That they have weapons that surpass our own?" "The evidence is undeniable," Xental replied, showing them the sensor data from Earth's demonstration. "Their quantum targeting system alone is centuries ahead of ours." The council chamber erupted into chaos. For 10,000 years, the Empire had never faced such a situation. "We should strike now," General Kraz shouted, his hologram pulsing with rage. "Bring our entire fleet. Show these humans the true might of the Empire." But Admiral Linta, the oldest member of the council, raised her hand for silence. "And risk losing half our fleet. Did you not see their demonstration? 1 ship, 1 shot, 7 targets. Technology that breaks the laws of physics as we know them." Meanwhile, on Earth's moon base, Dr. Sarah Chen and her team monitored the Imperial communications. Their quantum interceptors, reversed engineered from the Roswell ship, picked up every transmission. They're arguing among themselves, she reported to General Rodriguez, just as we predicted. Back in the Imperial Council session, a new voice spoke. Council scientist Zextor had been analyzing the data. There's something else, he said quietly. Look at their shield technology. It's not just advanced, it's impossible. They've combined 3 different theoretical approaches that our scientists said could never work together. Ambassador Xental felt a chill. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting. Zextor leaned forward, that what we're seeing might be only a fraction of their capabilities. They knew we were coming. They prepared. They hid. What else are they hiding? In Earth orbit, the ESS Defender maintained its position. Admiral Chen Wei received regular updates from the lunar base about the Empire's discussion. Everything was proceeding according to the plan developed decades ago. Sir, his tactical officer reported, we're detecting energy fluctuations in the Imperial fleet. They appear to be arguing about what to do. The Imperial Council's debate grew more heated. We cannot retreat, General Krass insisted. No world has ever defied the Empire. Our authority will be questioned across the galaxy. Better questioned than destroyed, Admiral Linta countered. These humans, they're different. They saw us coming. They prepared. They waited. They let us think they were primitive. That shows not just technology, but strategy, patience, intelligence. Xental played his final recording. There's more, he said. Our deep space sensors detected similar energy signatures from Mars. They have a second fleet hidden there. And our probes suggest possible bases as far as Jupiter's moons. They've spread through their solar system while maintaining the illusion of being planet-bound. Council scientist Zextor's hologram flickered as he ran more calculations. The power readings from their demonstration, they were holding back. Significantly. The silence that followed was deafening. Finally, High Counselor Vexera spoke again. For the first time in our history, we face a species that not only anticipated our arrival, but prepared for it in complete secrecy. They could have revealed themselves at any time. Instead, they waited until we exposed our intentions. And now? Ambassador Xental asked. Now, Admiral Linta said softly, we must decide if the Empire's pride is worth its destruction. The countdown continued. In 30 minutes, they would have to choose, retreat, or face a civilization that had spent 7 decades preparing for this exact moment. And still, the humans hadn't shown everything they could do. Dr. Victor Chung walked through the hidden halls of Facility Zero, beneath the Antarctic ice. Here, where it all began, he would show the Imperial observers what humanity had discovered 70 years ago. This way, Ambassador Xental. He gestured to the small delegation that the Empire had sent. The ambassador and 2 Imperial scientists followed, their silvery skin reflecting the blue lights of the facility. In 1947, Dr. Chang began, we didn't just find your scout ship. We found this. He pressed his hand against a scanner, and massive doors slid open to reveal something that made even the Imperial scientists gasp. A massive alien artifact hung suspended in the chamber, not Imperial technology, something far older. The first ones, Imperial scientist Zextor whispered, but they vanished millions of years ago. They left this behind, Dr. Chung explained. Your scout ship crashed because it flew too close to it. The artifact was defending itself. In orbit, Admiral Chen Wei received the transmission from Antarctica. It was time for the next phase of the revelation. Dr. Chen, he called to the lunar base. Begin the historical data stream. Sarah Chen activated the quantum archives. Holographic displays appeared in the facility, showing humanity's secret history. We reversed engineered your ship, she explained over the comm. But that was just the beginning. The artifact contained data, instructions, warnings about the Empire. The holograms showed the secret space program, how humans had built their first FTL ship in 1962, not 2062 as the public believed. How they had reached Mars by 1965, establishing hidden bases while the world watched fake moon landings. We needed to keep up appearances, General Rodriguez added, joining the tour. Every public space failure, every exploded rocket, all carefully staged. We couldn't let you know our real progress. The Imperial delegation watched as the holograms showed massive underground facilities being built worldwide. Quantum factories hidden in mountain ranges. Training programs for pilots and crews who would never be acknowledged in their lifetimes. But the artifact gave us more than technology, Dr. Chung continued. It showed us your pattern, how you classify civilizations, how you judge them based on their apparent level of technology, how you conquer them. Ambassador Xentel's eyes widened. You've been preparing for us specifically, all this time. Precisely. President Martinez's voice came through as she joined them via hologram. We built our defense grid based on analyzing your conquest patterns. We developed weapons specifically designed to counter your strategies. We studied every weakness in Imperial technology. In another chamber, they showed the Empire's observers their quantum computing facility. Computers that didn't just process information. They calculated possibilities across multiple dimensions. Your entire system of conquest, Dr. Chen explained, relies on superiority through surprise. You arrive, you demonstrate power, you expect submission. But we removed the element of surprise 70 years ago. The tour reached its final stop, a massive chamber filled with thousands of stasis pods. Our best scientists, engineers, and pilots, General Rodriguez explained. Multiple generations trained in secret, ready to defend Earth. While the world went about its normal life, we built an army in the shadows. Ambassador Xentel stared at the endless rows of pods. All this, and you never revealed it. Never used it for advantage. Never showed any sign. Because we had one goal, Dr. Chung said quietly. To ensure that when you arrived, thinking us primitive and weak, you would face the most prepared civilization in your empire's history. The message was clear. Earth hadn't just prepared for war. They had spent 3 generations preparing specifically for this moment, for this enemy, with technology that even the Empire couldn't fully comprehend. And they still hadn't shown all their cards. General Krass ignored the Imperial Council's warnings. His battle fleet emerged from hyperspace beyond Mars' orbit. 5,000 warships, the largest Imperial force ever assembled. This ends now, he broadcast across all frequencies. No primitive species defies the Empire and lives. Admiral Chen Wei stood calmly on the bridge of the HFY Defender. Behind his ship, Earth's combined fleet waited. A mere 100 vessels against thousands, but numbers had never been the point. Final warning, General Krass, Admiral Chen transmitted. Return to Imperial space. You dare threaten me? Krass laughed. I have 5,000 ships, and I have 70 years of preparation. Chen replied quietly. Dr. Chen, activate the Artemis Protocol. In the lunar base, Sarah Chen pressed her hand against the quantum scanner. Artemis Protocol engage. Good hunting. Admiral, what happened next would be written in Imperial history books forever. The 100 Earth ships suddenly split into thousands of quantum echoes, each one as solid and real as the original. The Empire's sensors couldn't tell which were real and which weren't. Impossible. Krass shouted. No civilization has mastered quantum duplication. But Earth hadn't just mastered it. They'd weaponized it. The HFY Defender and its fleet moved with impossible precision. Each ship existed in multiple quantum states simultaneously, appearing and disappearing faster than Imperial targeting systems could track. All ships, open fire, Krass ordered in panic. Imperial energy beams passed harmlessly through quantum duplicates, while the real Earth ships struck with devastating accuracy. Each shot from Earth's fleet split into multiple quantum-entangled beams, ignoring shields that worked only in normal space. From her command center in Antarctica, Dr. Victor Chang monitored the quantum field. "Admiral, they're trying to adapt their shields." Switching to pattern Delta, Earth's ships shifted tactics instantly. The quantum duplicates collapsed, only to reform in new configurations that the Empire had never seen before. Each Imperial attempt to counter was met with a strategy specifically designed to defeat it. "How?" General Krass screamed as another 100 of his ships went dark. "How do you have counters for tactics we haven't even tried yet?" "Because," Admiral Chen replied calmly, "we've spent decades running quantum simulations of this exact battle. We've fought this war 1,000,000 times in our computers. We know every move you could make." The Empire's mighty fleet was being decimated by a force they couldn't even properly target. Earth's ships phased in and out of normal space, their quantum state weapons bypassing every defense the Empire had developed over 10,000 years. In orbit around Jupiter, Earth's hidden fleet emerged from its quantum camouflage. General Rodriguez commanded this second wave personally. "All ships, execute pattern Omega. Show them what humanity can really do." The quantum field around the battlefield shifted. Space itself seemed to twist as Earth's combined fleet demonstrated technology that the Empire had thought theoretically impossible. "Admiral," Dr. Chen reported from the lunar base, "their remaining ships are charging their mass drivers. They're desperate, exactly as the simulations predicted." Admiral Chen nodded. "Execute final phase." The ESS Defender suddenly appeared directly in front of General Krass's flagship, its quantum state solidifying. "General," Chen transmitted, "look at your tactical display." "Really look." Krass did. His remaining ships were surrounded not just by Earth's fleet, but by quantum-locked fields that made retreat impossible. They were trapped in a three-dimensional grid of humanity's making. "Surrender," Admiral Chen offered, "or we show you what else we've developed in 70 years of preparation." The mighty Imperial fleet, pride of the Empire, hung powerless in space. They had brought their greatest force to crush a primitive world. Instead, they had discovered that humanity had spent 3 generations preparing specifically for this moment, and Earth's ships were still operating at partial power. 1 month after the battle that changed galactic history, the Imperial High Council gathered in person for the first time in 1,000 years. The location they chose was unprecedented: the newly constructed Harmony Station, orbiting Earth. High Counselor Vexera stood before the assembled representatives of both Earth and the Empire. The station's grand chamber was filled with delegates from 5,000 worlds, all here to witness something unprecedented. "For 10,000 years," she began, "the Empire ruled through force. Today that era ends." President Martinez sat beside Admiral Chen Wei and Dr. Sarah Chen, representing Earth. Behind them stood the holographic presence of the ancient artifacts AI, finally revealed to the galaxy. "The humans didn't just defeat our greatest fleet," Vexera continued. "They showed us how blind we had become. While we conquered, they prepared. While we stagnated, they innovated. While we relied on brute force, they developed technologies we thought impossible." The gathered delegates watched in awe as holographic displays showed Earth's achievements: the quantum duplication technology, the multi-dimensional shields, the time-shifted targeting systems. But most importantly, Admiral Lenta added, rising to stand beside Vexera, "They chose not to destroy us when they could have. They showed restraint, wisdom, the very qualities we have forgotten in our quest for power." Dr. Victor Chang stepped forward, carrying a data crystal. "Earth offers this freely to the galaxy, the basic principles behind our quantum technologies, not as conquerors, but as partners in progress." The Imperial scientists who had studied Earth's technology confirmed what many had suspected. Humanity hadn't just matched Imperial technology. They had completely reinvented it, finding new paths that the Empire's rigid thinking had overlooked. Therefore, Vexera announced, the Empire proposes a new galactic order, not based on conquest, but on cooperation, and we ask Earth to help lead this transition. President Martinez approached the central podium. 70 years ago, We found an artifact that warned us about the Empire, but it also showed us a better way. We could have built weapons of pure destruction. Instead, we developed technologies that could also create, protect, and unite. The chamber erupted in discussion as Martinez revealed humanity's next announcement. We've detected 17 other civilizations hiding their true capabilities, just as we did. We invite them now to step forward, without fear. One by one, representatives from these hidden civilizations revealed themselves. Some had been hiding for centuries, others for millennia. Each had found their own ways to avoid Imperial attention. The age of hiding is over, Admiral Chen declared. The age of cooperation begins. The Earth Imperial Cooperative was formed that day. The Empire's vast experience in management would combine with Earth's innovative spirit and the hidden knowledge of other civilizations. In the Antarctic facility, the ancient artifact glowed with new energy. Its AI spoke to the gathered leaders. The test is passed. Humanity did not merely survive, they showed a better way. Dr. Sarah Chen, working with scientists from across the galaxy, had already begun establishing new research centers. Their goal, combining the unique perspectives of all civilizations to push the boundaries of science even further. We spent 70 years preparing for war, she told the assembled delegates, but we always hoped for peace. Now we can build something greater than any single civilization could achieve alone. As the ceremony concluded, ships from Earth and the Empire performed a joint quantum jump demonstration. Once enemies, now partners in a new age of exploration and discovery. The galaxy was changing. The civilization that everyone had dismissed as primitive had shown them all a new path forward. And this was just the beginning. In orbit around Earth, the EFSS Defender maintained its watch, no longer as a warship, but as a symbol of how far humanity had come and how far they could still go. The stars beckoned, and this time, all civilizations would explore them together.